Hey y'all, I'm so excited to release this episode because this is my first video podcast episode. This will be available on my podcast, Derek Academy. Same on all platforms, but the only difference is you guys can actually watch. This is just kind of like a trial run. This is something that I might continue to do, might not. I don't know yet. I just have to see how much I really like it. This is also kind of like my first time really stepping into the word of Christ and talking a lot of heavily about God and stuff and just spreading the word. So I'm really excited. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy. Before I get started, I do want to touch bases on two things that I forgot to discuss in the episode that I want to just throw out there to you guys really quick. So when it comes to having temperance and patience, I feel like it is really important for especially Black people to really be headstrong about this, because I feel like for many years Black people have been beaten down and brainwashed it, and our moral compass has shifted. That's why it's easier for us to fall into temptations and be easily influenced, and we're more vulnerable to society when it comes to these unrealistic standards and things of that nature that hinders our temperance and patience. And also when women choose to date a certain type of man, or even when men choose to date a certain type of woman, or when people choose to date a certain type of people, they get certain outcomes. It's kind of like a repeated pattern. That's why it's so important to watch the company that you keep. For example, now this is a really random it's kind of a really random example, but look at Iggy Azalea, for example. Look at the type of man that she had a child with, somebody who presents himself to be very satanic. I'll talk about that more on another episode, but look at the outcome she got. Look at social media today and the type of guys that females fetishize now, and look at the repeated cycle that the Black community and even outsiders keep falling victim to. That's why the company that you keep is so important, because it very much determines your fate. So without further ado, I'm gonna let you guys get straight into the episode. I'm so excited. Okay, wait, hold on. Oh my god, I'm getting nervous. Hold on, I gotta pause. I gotta pause. I'm getting nervous. Oh my god. Okay. Amen. I know one thing that I really wanted to talk about is how the being in love with God, that was something that I feel like was really important, and I really want to touch bases on. Thank you for that. I'm really excited for today's episode. Today is Resurrection Day, if you guys didn't know at the time of this recording. And Miss Mammy is a part of my discipleship class that I take, and like when like I tell you like her testimonies really move me, like they really do. And I know yesterday's class we talked about having temperance and patience, but I know the class before that we talked about being in love with God, and I know that was really inspiring to me because like I'm really like a lover, like I'm a lover girl, but it made me realize that like I'm pointing my love in the wrong direction, and instead of putting my love in human or satisfying flesh, to put my love in God, because God will never steer me the wrong way. And it just overall like it teaches you temperance, it teaches you patience, and I really wanted you to talk about that. Mhm. I really love that. And I know when we're talking about having temperance for people who don't really understand like what that means, it basically means like to have the mindset of God. It's more than just that, but a temperance person will oftentimes think as like, what would Jesus do? And you have to have a lot of integrity to have this type of mindset, because there's time that you will be tempted, you know, you will face temptations, and sometimes you might feel like, oh, like no one's around, no one will know, but God knows. And a person with temperance, they will be able to, they will have a better, it's easier for them to resist those temptations. So a verse I want to call out is Second Peter's 1 lines 1 through 11. I want to talk about, I want to call out the verse Proverbs 25 through 28. A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. I want to call out Philippians 2:5. Let this mind be in you as it is in Christ Jesus. And I also want to mention the story of Joseph and his resistance to temptations. So that is in Genesis 39, 7 through 12. You can go read it. It's basically about Joseph being tempted to sleep with another man's wife. It's something that he would most likely gotten away with due to the fact that there was no one there, but he kept in mind that although no one else would know, Jesus would know, because Jesus is always around and Jesus is always watching. Also, one thing that really inspired me is the story of Jesus' temptations in the wilderness. That story is about proving, like not proving yourself to the enemy. That's in Matthews 4, 1 through 11. And that it really touched me because basically like the devil was trying to get Jesus to do little things like to prove himself, and Jesus refused to do so. And basically I remember in class I was like, well, like if you're a temperance person, you know, you have to have, it sounds like you have to like have like this type, you have to carry yourself a certain way, and you also don't want to like you don't want to be too harsh on people. And then we talked about how sometimes like you have to be harsh, because if it's in the best benefit of that person, sometimes like it's okay, it's just tough love. What are your thoughts on that? That was a really great example. Like that was actually very moving. I told y'all, it's like every time this woman speaks, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so moved. And I know a lot of times you say like, oh, that's not me, that's just the Lord, which is very true, because sometimes like when I'm talking like so prophetic and what I'm just saying, sometimes like I don't even fully grasp, I don't even fully understand what I'm saying myself. Like it just comes out so naturally. Like that's how I know it's the Holy Ghost taking over me, and it's God speaking through me, and I just love that. I know I want to talk about the dangers of lacking temperance. I know we probably already kind of touched on that a little bit, but a verse I want to call out is Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes. Do you know how to pronounce that? Oh, Ecclesiastes 7:9. Um, the devil will always be in your ear, and you're always gonna face temptations. Temptations. That's why it's so important for you to enforce boundaries. You have to stand 10 toes behind your boundaries, because when you don't have temperance, it's equivalent to being blind. You will compromise. You will start to slowly accept things or be passive of things that you might not really agree with. But when you're not temperance and when you are disproportionate in the spirit, that is bound to happen. And I'm going to talk about being disproportionate in the spirit in quite a bit. But I feel like when you're not in temperance, you can kind of not come off as naive, but it's similar to being naive. It'll be harder to have peace, and you will self-destruct. That's why it's very important for you to not leave any leadway, because snakes always appear to seem good. They might feel good, sound good, or even look good. A verse that I want to read is 2 Peter's 1:5-7. I'm gonna pull that up real quick. Okay, well, I don't know where I want to start. I know when it comes to the I know first I'm gonna backtrack to what you first said about being alone and stuff. I know for me, I'm 19. My birthday is literally a month from today. I'll be 20 May 1st. And I know in high school, like I know growing up, I was very like coddled. I never had friends. I never went to parties. Like I never drank, did no type of drugs. I wasn't even sexually active in high school, and I always felt like I was like boring, like I'm wasting my youth, like I'm in my prime, like I'm in high school, never even skipped school before. Like I just thought I was like the most not lame person ever, but I thought I was just missing out on so much. But the difference, what I did know was the difference between me and the other kids in school is that I had a passport. I went on trips all the times, multiple times a year. I know so I was fortunate in other aspects, but I wasn't satisfied, because like with me being like living in America and being black and a young teenage girl, that's the standards you feel like. I didn't even go to my high school prom. I didn't go to grad bash, which that was kind of like for other reasons, but like I didn't have any friends. Like I was just like, I felt like a good girl. Like I had this good girl image, and I hated it because it wasn't my choice. Like I didn't choose this lifestyle. Like it just chose me. And I thought I was like just so lame. So when I turned 18, like I wanted to, date, pray. Like I felt like, like I'm just in my prime, like I should, but I wasn't. And I always beat myself out about it. And when I got my own apartment, I was always alone. Like I would just go home, go to work, school. Like it was just like the same cycle over and over again. Like I wasn't even working on my craft. Like I just thought I was just wasting my years, which I was. But that was all of a choice that I made, because I was putting these unrealistic standards on myself. Like I know that I was very fortunate. Like my parents, like I inherited a lot from my parents, but I wasn't satisfied because I was craving like earthly satisfactions. I know this one. Yes, I know this one verse I want to call out. I don't know where this is, but it says, "Stop loving this evil world and all that it offers you, for when you love these things, you show that you do not really love God. For all of these worldly things, these evil desires, the craze for sex, the ambition to buy everything that appeals to you, and the pride that comes from wealth and importance. These are not from God. And I feel like that is so important for people my age, especially growing up in the social media era where everything is just so hyper sexualized and all these standards are just extremely unrealistic. I feel like temperance is so important now more than ever. And I know for a fact that I have fallen victim to this. I know when I finally started going to the clubs, which was very, very recently, like January of this year, like I was so excited. Like I felt like I was finally, like, enjoy my prime as I should. But then, like, I quickly realized, joining when I became a part of this discipleship class that we say, I realized, like, this whole time I was literally complaining when I was actually, I should have been thankful. I should have been thankful that I was so innocent. Right? I should have been thankful that I was so innocent. I should be thankful that I have pureness to myself, that I'm not somebody's baby mama, or that I'm not ran through. Like, it even got so bad to the point, like, where I used to be self-conscious because I didn't have sexual experiences. And this was very recently, like 2 months ago. Like, I really thought like I was like lame because like I was 18 years old and I was still like, I had no sexual experience. Now I really, like, that's something like I genuinely beat myself up about. Like, I was really self-conscious about. So that just goes to show like how corrupt, like, this, like how corrupt of a system we live in. Correct. And it is. I really, like, again, like, I don't even be knowing where to start when I respond to what you're saying. But I know as you were speaking, I wrote down when you are not temperate, society will give you all of the tools to self-destruct yourself. That's something that Tupac had once said. And I really, like, as you were saying that, I self-reflected back onto myself, because when I had that mindset, I was sitting around being like lazy, not even working on my craft, I was the one self-destructing myself because I allowed society to give me those tools, which were these standards these expectations that I thought that I had to live up to, when really there was nothing at all wrong with me. And I even felt like I subconsciously knew that these attributes that I carried, like, I'm not gonna say it made me better than anybody, but these were good qualities to have, or qualities that people usually do look for in a woman. So when I started dating, I wasn't dating at all in high school, not seriously, at least, and that's another thing that I felt like that I kind of always beat myself up about. But when I turned 18, like, I immediately started dating, but I started dating women. So when I would get into relationships with these women and they were like made aware, like, of like my innocence, and the relationship wouldn't work out, I kind of would be like, well, dang, like, I'm the perfect, I make the perfect wife. Like, I love I love love. I'm such a lover girl. I'm so big on loyalty and family. Like, I want the white picket fence. I'm so strong on marriage. Like, I still have this sense of innocence, but like, I'm very level-headed and smart, have everything going for myself. How could it not work out? Like, I make the perfect, not to sound like narcissistic or anything, but like, I know subconsciously, even though that these are things that I'm insecure about, that it did give me like kind of a step stool. So again, this just goes back to craving like worldly things. There's nothing wrong with craving love and like being in love, but as you have to love God more than you love anything else, period. Before I really get into before I further get into the benefits of temperance and patience, I want to backtrack one more time, and I want to touch on how you mentioned when you lack temperance, sometimes it will cause you to black out and put yourself into situations. And there's so many people sitting in jail cells thinking like, how did I get here? What happened? I want you to just briefly just elaborate on that a little bit. That is very, very, very true, and that's why like people with short tempers, is very important that they don't react impulsively, because I know when you said that when you're in a situation like that, the devil gets in your mind, and by the time you already did what you did, he's gone. And that's why a lot of people come to their senses when they do things that are irrational, because after it's all said and done, now you're able to think with a clear mind, and you're able to recognize really the severeness of your actions. So verse I want to call out, I don't know if I called this one out already, but Proverbs 19:11. When you're a temperance person with patience, you have to be a forgiving person, but you also have to stand 10 toes behind your boundaries. I know when you're forgiving, but you continuously like allow those people back. You can forgive people from a distance, you can love people from a distance, that is perfectly okay. You don't have to allow people back into your life in order to forgive them, because then that enables abusive relationships. A verse I want to call out is James 1, lines 19 through 20. And I feel like that really highlights the importance of patience. People with a mindset like this, they have greater wisdom, honor, and they're very self-righteous. You can't let people be the creator of your atmosphere. I'm not sure if that's something you said or Miss Gaines said, but that is so. When you react to something and let somebody get you out of character, that is them being the creator of your atmosphere, because you gave them the power to allow you to create that hostile environment. So by expressing self-control, exercising self-control, moderation, individuals can experience the benefits of a disciplined, virtuous character. Virtuous character. And Matthew 6, lines 16 through 18. When you fast, you do not look soberous. You do not look as somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show others that they have fasted. Truly, I tell you, they have received their rewards in hell. But when you fast, put oil on your forehead and wash your face. Okay, so that verse, I feel like it really sums up the benefits you reap from being temperate and for having temperance and patience. So it's rewarding. It gives you an overall different thought process. It brings you peace. Well, life will always come with its trial and error, but it's a step stool to help you maintain peace, I feel like. And you cannot be disproportionate in spirit. This is something that I advocate for a lot. This is something that I say a lot, and I'm gonna keep on saying it because I feel like this is so important. So disproportionate in the spirit. 3 key factors that you need to enforce to be not disproportionate in spirit is knowing, reading the word, fasting, and praying. If you do one but not the other, you will have a disproportionate spirit. If the devil sees that you like to pray but not get into the word, he will come at you with something that only someone who gets into the word would have the wisdom to answer to. If he sees that you like to get into the word but hates prayer, he will come at you with something that only a prayerful person could withstand. If he sees that you like to pray but hate fasting, he will come at you with something that only somebody who has wrung their body under subjection through fasting to withstand. Don't be an easy target in any aspect. And that is so important, because you need all of those qualities in order to have temperance. Two verses I want to call out are Romans 12:2 and James 5:16. And I want people to know that throughout this journey you have to make sacrifices, and when you're not temperance, it opens the doors for you to self-destruct and be vulnerable. So, is there anything that you want to add or share, or a testimony that you want to give to wrap up temperance? Or is there anything that you do you want to say anything else about loving God and really fully giving your life to God, submitting to God, and really walking through, letting Him lead you and guide you? People with a mindset like this, they have greater wisdom, honor, and they're very self-righteous. You can't let people be the creator of your atmosphere. I'm not sure if that's something you said or Miss Gaines said, but that is so, when you react to something and let somebody get you out of character, that is them being the creator of your atmosphere, because you've allowed them, you gave them the power to allow you to create that hostile environment. So by expressing self-control, exercising self-control, moderation, individuals can experience the benefits of a disciplined, virtuous character. And Matthew 6, lines 16-18. So thank you for that. I really am so thankful for you coming on my podcast, especially on Resurrection Day. I know yesterday when we went over this subject, it was just so ironic that we did it the day before Resurrection Day, because it truly did feel like a resurrection. Like, I really did feel restored. I feel like I, just by talking, just by being enlightened, just that one time, it just really, so thank you for that. I really am so thankful for you coming on my podcast, especially on Resurrection Day. I know yesterday when we went over this subject, it was just so ironic that we did it the day before Resurrection Day, because it truly did feel like a resurrection. Like, I really did feel restored. I feel like I, just by talking, just by being enlightened.